Hey everybody, it's Small again, here to talk to you about capital gains taxes versus estate taxes. Before I get to that though, I want to remind you, if you want to talk about anything related to estate planning or probate, and you want to talk with me or with us, you can go to cmslawfirm.com, sign up for time for free, cmslawfirm.com. Okay, so I've had these conversations often, these conversations related to sort of reducing capital gains taxes versus reducing estate taxes. This is a primary thought for people in Washington State in particular, because we have our own special state estate tax. That estate tax starts at $2.2 million. If you are over $2.2 million, generally, the first million over that, so from 2 to 3, generally is going to be taxed at 10%, from 3 to 4 at 14%, from 4 to 5 at 15%, from 5 to 6 at 16%, and up and up and up, okay? So there are always people, rightly so, or with good intentions, that want to reduce this estate tax. Sometimes, however, they this need to reduce the estate tax is sort of at the expense, at the detriment of having to pay capital gains taxes, which if you have to pay capital gains tax, the minimum capital gains tax rate is 20%. And you can often, save yourself a 10% tax by affording yourself a 20% tax. We don't want to do that often. So I wanted to talk about that briefly, just to make sure that you are thinking about this as you are sort of coming up with your estate plan, as you are coming up with your tax reduction strategy, okay? Generally, the way the capital gains taxes work is whatever you buy your property for, that purchase price becomes your tax basis, all right? And everything over that tax basis that your property gains in appreciation, if you sell the property, depending on when you sell it and depending on what type of property it is, you are subject to some capital gains tax. Okay, so to give you just sort of a general example, let's say you buy a share of Microsoft stock and it's $1, and then you sell it later for $10. That $9 worth of gain, okay, that appreciation, you could or would potentially have to pay some capital gains tax on that $9. The amount from your tax basis of $1 to your new basis of $10, okay? Now, there's a special little thing that comes with estate planning and when you die, basically, and it's called a step up in basis. This step up in basis is sort of a rule that says if you die and you transfer your property to someone else, they don't take that property at what you bought it for. They take that property at today's new valuation. So to continue with our example, if let's say your grandmother bought some Microsoft stock for $1 and now it's worth $10, she dies and gives that stock to you, you now take that stock with a tax basis of $10. So whereas before you were paying tax on that $9 worth of gain, if you inherit that stock and now you sell it, you will pay no tax on that gain because you take it with a tax basis of $10. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Now, where this comes into play with estate taxes is if you are not careful, you can miss the forest for the trees. A lot of people want to reduce their estate taxes, so they will do their best to move property outside of their estate. One of the ways that you can do that is to create an irrevocable trust and move some of your property into that trust. All right, so for example, let's use the Microsoft stock example. Let's say you want to reduce your estate by that amount, by that $10 that you have in that Microsoft stock. So you create an irrevocable trust and you move that stock over into that trust, okay? By moving it into the irrevocable trust, you have moved it out of your estate. So you will not have to pay estate taxes on that Microsoft stock. However, to move that stock into that irrevocable trust, you have to gift it into the trust. By gifting it into the trust while you are alive, you are transferring that Microsoft stock with your original tax basis. So that $1 that you paid for it is the tax basis of that stock as you move it over into that irrevocable trust. When you die, because that stock is not part of your estate, that stock does not get the step up in basis. So when the stock is sold out of that irrevocable trust, it will be sold with a tax basis of $1, and capital gains taxes will be owed on all of that growth. All right. So what can happen is you can avoid a 10% estate tax by having to pay a 20% capital gains tax. Now, whether or not these taxes are owed and the manner in that they're owed, and whether or not it's a good idea to move these things in or out of irrevocable trusts or to gift them or do these other things, it's not that it's complicated, but it's very unique to each individual circumstance. So before you go doing any of these things, that's why it's so important that you talk to probably a financial planner, 100%, an estate planning attorney, so that you can get some advice on what you need or want to do. Because often what you think is the right thing to do in your head and what feels right, because you feel like, oh, I'm reducing some estate taxes, on paper might not be a great idea because you are in fact increasing these capital gains taxes that are going to be owed at the end of the day. Because the goal is not always to pay zero tax. Paying zero tax, while it might be nice, typically means you are broke, okay? Rich people pay some tax, okay? They're just a fact. And that's okay. You want to reduce those taxes as much as you can. You want to utilize the rules to your advantage as much as you can. But sometimes by trying to go for a zero tax status, you can in fact have some consequences on the back end with other taxes that you haven't thought about. All right. So I want to talk about that because I get asked that question a lot. I have people calling me a lot. They want to make sure they're not paying estate taxes. They want to save this or save that, and they're missing some of these unintended consequences that they haven't considered. All right. That is it. Okay. Hopefully that made sense. If it didn't, and you want to talk with me more about it, you can go to cmslawfirm.com. You can set up a time to talk with me over the phone for free. cmslawfirm.com. All right. That's it. As always, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. I hope you got some out of this. If you have more questions or comments, leave them below. Do all the things that you need to do to make sure that you see all these videos in the future. And that's it. Have a great day. Have a great everything. Thank you. And I will talk to you again soon.